called to look after those who are most vulnerable. And on my watch, that's what America will do. Most Americans are with us on all these issues.
Yeah.
Bad news is our democracy has gotten warped and twisted out of shape.
Yep.
And it's why if we want to make progress on any issue, from climate to immigration, from education to gun violence, we have got to restore our democracy before it's too late. That means getting money out of politics. It means districts that can no longer be drawn by politicians choosing their voters, but are actually fair. It also means that whether you're in D.C. or whether you're in Puerto Rico, you deserve the same political representation. Saying that in Iowa, not just out here. Muchísimas gracias. Gracias de su apoyo. Democracy is what makes us American.
Shoot, I missed my chance.
Democracy is the foundation of our understanding of our nation. And I think that we can no longer assume, maybe we never could, that each generation would see America more democratic than the one that came before. We have got to make sure that that happens. And that's everything from the issues that I've been talking about to what I would consider a very basic step. Call me quaint, call me simple-minded, but I would argue that it is fitting for a democracy to choose its nation's leader by just counting up all the votes and getting it. Competition to deliver this message, to capture the nomination, and to defeat this president. Yes. And I think we're getting somewhere because we have a different kind of vocabulary. Because coming from the background of being a mayor, because coming from the background of being from that very part of the country that was taken advantage of by this president's message. You know, the industrial Midwest. Nowhere is it written that the industrial Midwest can only be reached through nostalgia and resentment. You've got to speak for a reason. I'm also here to make the case that it would serve us well to have a new generation of leadership. Speaking of which, I'd like you to meet somebody who is going to moderate our Q&A. She is about to be, and by about to be, I mean tomorrow, she will be a graduate of T.C. Williams. Because she reached out and said, don't you think we ought to have some young people here, even if they can't come up with a ticket price? And so I'm pretty sure that we might have a future president here, but maybe I'm done first, and then
Remember that, Titan!
What are your views on debating your competitors without tearing them down?
Great question. Do we have a name on there?
Reggie.
Reggie, you here?
I'm here.
Hi, how you doing? So, we have a fantastic field right now.
Yes.
I'm honored to be part of this field. We're also competing. And so our job is each to present why we would make the best nominee, why we're the one best able to win, and why we make a great president. But we have got to remember that at the end of the day, we're all on the same team. And we all have to support the 22 people who don't become the nominee, have to support the one who does. And everything
How many blue ties do you own?
Did I leave a name or just leave me I don't know. That's a good question. It's a lot of. It's not that many though. You might have noticed. Like if now I've been at this long enough that sometimes I do the same TV show twice. I got to check whether the last time I did that TV show I was wearing the same tie. Ties can be kind of expensive. Yeah. I'm sure Jasper will be writing in to say it.
How will you provide affordable health care to every person in America?
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, as I said, I believe healthcare is part and parcel of freedom because the ability to gain access to healthcare decides some of the possibilities you have in life. And I refuse to accept that there's something wrong with our country that we should be the only ones to accept being the only developed country not to have universal healthcare. I also think anyone running for office who allows the words universal health care or Medicare for all to escape our lips has a responsibility to talk about how you get from here to there. And the way that I would do it, the way I think we ought to do it is take something like Medicare, a version of Medicare, make it available as a kind of public option on the exchange. I believe that it will deliver care that is more efficient and affordable, as well as more comprehensive than the current kind of corporate patchwork that we have out there. And if people like me are right, then what's going to happen is more people will buy into it very quickly, and it'll become a kind of a glide path to a Medicare for all environment. But we need to set us up for success on that path, and I think this is the way to do it. And it dares, the private sector says we can be more efficient. So let them prove it. If they want to prove it, great. I don't think they will, but let's not prove it.
Help middle and lower income families, with or without children.
Okay. Is there a questioner here? Is there a questioner here? Or,
no.
Okay. So, we've been told that a rising tide lifts all boats. And this has been the kind of governing assumption for as long as I've been alive. It really started with the Reagan era. And what we've seen is that the rising tide rose, right? GDP went up, growth went up, productivity went up, big numbers went up. And most of our boats didn't budge. For 90% of Americans, you start the clock right around the time I'm born, income didn't move at all. So lower middle income, really almost all of us. And what we've learned is that supply side idea that you just cut taxes, make the rich better off, and it'll find its way to the rest of us, is wrong. And the Reagan neoliberal era is now over. What are we going to do? Well, part of it's income. We think of exquisitely complicated policy contraptions to deal with the issues of our day. One of the issues of our day is people aren't getting paid enough and wages ought to be higher. Now, other parts of it really are more complicated. Our generation will be, do I get to say our generation? Like I go with it, it makes me feel young. I'll probably be corrected on that later. But the point is, if you're my age, definitely if you're Hannah's age, you will be likely to change professions at a higher rate than my parents changed jobs. Things are moving that quickly. In fact, if you are working part-time at the hotel bar and you also drive for Uber and maybe you pick up a couple other gigs, you might change professions over the course of this week. More often than you think so. And partly because we have this benefit system that's designed around a lifelong relationship with a single employer, it just doesn't work that way. So we need to shift not only health, as we've talked about, but retirement benefit. If you drive 7 hours for Uber this week, then 7 divided by 40 is how much I want that to support your retirement, your savings, your vacation, your A big part of this is college affordability. So especially low-income people don't face cost as a barrier to getting through college. And then we've also got to make sure that it's not only more affordable to go to college in this country, but actually we've got to make it more affordable to not go to college in this country.
Oh, yeah.
And that will never happen if we don't have stronger organized labor, which is something I believe in.
All right, this is from Mark.
All right.
Do you support federal funds for universal pre-K?
All right. Great questions. Mark here?
Mark Solomon.
Hi, Mark. Okay. So the short answer is yes. The slightly longer answer is that this is an example of investments that pay for themselves. Some things don't. Some of the things that have contributed to this giant deficit we have now do not pay back. And a good example is tax cuts on the wealthiest done in corporations. The opposite is true of pre-K. You put $1 into pre-K, it comes back to you in people doing better in life, people earning more over the course of their life. You even see less pressure on the criminal justice system if we get people on the right start with pre-K. And that's why we're working in South Bend to expand access to pre-K, and the federal government should support much more widely available pre-K for people across the country.